Welcome back to G-Ball Vision, everyone. Thank you for stopping in. Today we have a topic discussion to get to. Before we get started, double check and make sure you are subscribed here to the channel. I'd love to have you hit that thumbs up button. It really helps push these videos out there so more people have a chance to check them out. Let me know what you are carrying in your pockets today down there in the comments. I will also list what I am carrying for the day in the pinned comment for anyone who cares. So the topic discussion today is about knife design, who is designing knives, and a little bit about who is making knives. And anything I have ever heard on it is all based on just someone else's opinion, just like this is going to just solely be my opinion. I've never had much thoughts on the topic until recently when I don't know, felt like it was time to kind of say my piece on it, I guess. But I've heard time and time again that this person shouldn't be a knife designer, or this group of people shouldn't be knife designers. This YouTuber or these YouTubers shouldn't be knife designers. And that's kind of the main topic for today. Is I've heard countless times from several different individuals, and some of them I don't even remember who they are, some I do, but that YouTubers who review knives and critique knives should not be designing knives. Now, if you ask me, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you were to ask me, we need more knife designers out here designing knives. We got more companies. We need more designers. Do you want someone designing a knife who has only ever had 10 knives in their entire life, or doesn't ever handle knives, never even really had a knife except in their junk drawer or something? Or would you want someone who is literally handling knives day in and day out, different knives, different companies, really truly getting a feel for the knife in general, the concept of a knife and what is comfortable to that person and all the things that go into a knife design? If you ask me, I don't think there's really any better person out there to design a knife than someone who is constantly evaluating them and handling them. Now, does that mean it's always going to translate? Maybe not. But in my opinion, I know quite a few YouTubers who have put out a knife design, several designs. And I fail to see where any of these knives in their design wouldn't be adequate enough, right? It's almost fun. It's funny to say because it's so asinine. Every knife on this table has been designed by someone who is a content creator, and there's other knives I just don't have. I'm sure there's other knives out there as well. I know Metal Complex is doing one, Tri-State. There's other YouTubers out there designing knives and having designs done that are, really good to really, really good, right? So I think that kind of squashes a little bit of that on my end. I've never really stated my thoughts on the entire thing. It's not something I bring up. I don't bring up a lot of that stuff at any points, really. That's kind of what these episodes are for, though, is to talk about different topics or questions or whatever it might be. Something that's a little bit off the normal path. But there's no one else I would rather have designing my knife or a knife that I'm going to be buying than someone who really cares about the whole idea, who handles them all the time. You can tell that all these knives have a lot of things in common, and that's that they're comfortable, very easy to open. The aesthetic of the knives are great. The materials are great. All these sorts of things make a knife great. And that's kind of the power that someone who is constantly handling knives has. They know what to look for. They know what shouldn't be there, how things should feel, all sorts of things that a lot of people just aren't going to have experience with, because most people aren't handling hundreds and hundreds of knives every year, and some much more than others. Someone who's been really reviewing knives for 5-10 years, their feel for a knife is going to be way more than someone who's only ever had a handful of knives. Even someone with a big collection, they're going to start to understand, knife design, and what feels good to them. But the key is, not everyone's going to, agree that certain knives are either good or, realistically just not their taste, But I think we would have to agree that all these knives here on the table are just tremendously great folding knives. Now, nobody is, that I know of, is sitting here saying these people are making these knives. Now, we do have some people who have went to making knives, right? Not designing, but making. These guys aren't making knives, they're designing them. So there's a big difference between the two, and as far as I know, I don't think any designer is trying to say they are a maker. There's a big difference between the two, and I don't think anyone who is in knife design is trying to say that they make knives. So I've heard that kind of thing too from various people, and it's like, no, they're just designing the knife. And if I'm being completely honest, I'd love to design a knife. I don't know that I ever will, but I'd love to. I think if you, and depending on the area, but in my area and most of the surrounding area, all the boys to men that you could find and ask if they wanted to design their perfect folding knife, or a knife that they think would be ultra useful, one of the two, almost everyone would say yes. Hell yes. So I think anyone has the right to design a knife, and they will be judged off of that design and the quality of that build from the company they choose. And I would have to say, across the board, some sample sizes are smaller than others, but I would say across the board, the knives that are designed by knife content creators have been extremely successful. That's also why you see multiple designs at this point from these creators, because they are ultra successful designers as well. So that's just my two thoughts on the entire thing. I'm not saying anyone has to agree with what I'm saying. I think, that's the great thing about where we live in America. You can have opinions on things that you know nothing about. You can have opinions on anything. Anyone can do or achieve anything. And if the work that the person puts in is then evaluated by a majority and it's good, it's quality, then it's a successful thing. So I just can't see where saying something, unless it's just pure jealousy, I guess. But for the people who would be jealous in saying that, you have that same, ability. The same chances as anyone else who is taking that step. It's a big step to put the kind of money in that you would need to design something, trust to have it made well, and then turn around and put it out in front of the public. That's a big thing. So to cover the knives on the table, I know people will ask if I don't. Tempest Knives Jetstream from Knives Fast. The RR Standard 3 or the RR3 from Knife Standards. Loot 10 Texas, Clydesdale. Kubey on the OEM there. We have the Devo Knives. What is this? The Mini Stout. Lefty EDC, Kevin and Colin. The Devo Original Stout. There's been 2 versions of this knife already. The full size. There's several other designs based off of it. Plus they have, a dozen other knives out and about or coming. We have Mattis Factions Kaiser Phoenix here. Great knife. Just handled that for the very first time here recently. And then we have the Tuya. Damn, now I can't think of the name. What is it? The Tuya. It'll come to me. It starts with a Caladan. The Caladan. The Tuya Caladan from Jim Skelton. And not only is he a designer, but he is a knife maker as well. So the two can go hand in hand. They can. So someone who is a maker is also, in a sense, a designer. But a designer can become a maker as well. So just my thoughts and opinions, and I think we're only going to see more people, whether they're content creators or not. I think we're going to see more people, start to get into knife design, which is awesome. Does that mean everyone's going to be successful? Hell no. But with the rate at which the knife community is growing, it's grown tremendously over the last couple of years, and it continues to get bigger and bigger. So the larger the knife community gets, and that's just the community, there's a huge world out there of people who just buy knives, casually, go to a box store or sporting goods store, or might order it online maybe, that just get one couple times a year or whatever, that are into knives as well, that probably don't even know the knife community exists, that may or may not find us someday. But the knife community is starting to engulf casual knife users, people who have never even thought about getting a knife or getting not, you know, coming into the knife community and getting into EDC and knives and all that stuff. So it's really cool to see. I've heard a lot of really cool stories as well about how people started up and all that type of stuff. Started up into the knife community, started into knife collecting. People who started up knife designing, you know. If you have a cool story, yours or something else you've heard, leave that down in the comments. Also, let me know if you have an opinion on this. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I always appreciate that, everyone. If you're new to the channel, we release knife and EDC content every single day. Hit that subscribe button and ring the little bell. I'd love to have you here. I'll put a couple of new videos up. Go check one of them out. Have yourself an awesome day. Thank you all again for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.